Hello there, everyone. We're going to just let everybody trickle into the call and get situated, and we'll get started here in a few minutes. Oh, shoot. All right. So welcome to the Alabama Q3 Special Programs PowerUp. It's really great to be here today. Nice to see you guys again. I am in shock that it's July already. I know that and all of us educators know what that means. Back to school season has started. I talked to the customer yesterday. She said it felt like they came back from their July 4th break, and then all of a sudden everything's just back to school season. So I know you guys are in those throes as well. I do remember being in those situations when I was teaching. So we do welcome you. We're excited for you to be here with us today. Let me move this forward. Today's agenda, I'll do some introductions here in just a moment. We're going to have some updates from your state team, your module team, as well as our product and support teams. And then I'm going to talk about some best practices that we want to call out for July as you head into August and September. And then we'll talk about our next steps. My name is Robin Skidmore. If you've not joined one of the PowerUps before, I am a senior educational impact consultant, formerly an educator in Virginia for 26 years, and I used our special programs product as a case manager for case management. We also have on the call today a familiar face. Stacey Royster is on the call. She's going to be providing us with some great state updates, as well as Shantae McClinton, your product manager, and Dana, our support person for Alabama. The first thing we're going to start off with today are some state updates. So Stacey, whenever you are ready.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And like Robin said, I cannot believe that we're almost 2 weeks into July already. I mean, before you know it, August 1 is going to be here. So let's not wish our summer away. I wish I had some more hours, but lots to do in the summertime to get ready for the upcoming school year. So, just a reminder that we do have information that we are loading into our Alabama Power School website. We do have the special programs page. It links to the live binder. You're going to see us start doing some migration of information from the live binder into the Google site. Samantha and I are working on a transition of moving that in there. So just kind of keep an eye on that. And as always, if you have new employees, send them to this so that they can look at some of our training documents to understand what they're getting into with special programs. Next slide, please.
Oh, well, it would be good if, I don't know what did I just do? Every time I get on an Alabama PowerUp, y'all must think that I am just, there we go.
It's been the day for technology.
Oh my gosh, hasn't it been?
Just a reminder that every Monday morning I do send out the Power School updates. Unless Monday is a holiday, then it comes out on Tuesday. And this is driven by our education directory role. So since we are in summertime, I'm pretty sure everybody has had someone in their district to retire this summer. I'm pretty sure you've probably hired new coordinators and such this summer. So make sure that your district updates everybody's education directory roles to get new people into their positions so that when we send these emails out, you receive those emails because we do put very important information about timelines, things that are going on at the moment in time in districts, state reporting, data updates, and so forth. Because in fact, we have an update that's going to be coming to special programs at the end of this month, and so that's how we'll be communicating everything through is through the weekly newsletter. Next slide. Also, remember we have our Alabama Power School YouTube channel. All of the trainings that Samantha and Sherry have done over the last year, we are taking them out of WebEx and are going to be loading them to the YouTube channel as we add new videos. Because, in fact, today a new video for special programs for English learners was added to the YouTube channel. If you subscribe to it, you've probably already received the email saying that a new video has been added. We also, in my weekly newsletter, I always state when we add new videos in there because those are great training tutorials for any new employees and just for refreshers when you do things like once a year sometimes with students to remind you of what you need to do there. So check out that channel and subscribe if you have not done so already. Next slide. Power School PD Plus, again, cannot mention how great this is, especially if you're bringing in new employees. How many of you have hired a new special ed teacher this year? How many of you have hired a new special ed coordinator this year or an administrator for a school that you need to get them access to how to do everything inside of Power School? Power School Campus PD Plus is the state's purchase training repository for Power School, and it has great tutorials for both SIS and special programs. If you'll go to the next slide for me, it'll show that there are training modules for each one. So if you are a special programs office staff, there is a learning path that you can be put in for that. If you are a special ed teacher, if you are a regular gen ed teacher, there are classroom paths that you can put on that will show you how to do everything in Power Teacher Pro, how to do things inside of special programs, and so forth. So if you've not taken advantage of that, reach out to your district Power School administrator and they can make sure that your new employees get an account set up so that they can do live on-demand training at their own pace inside of this learning module. Next slide. Oh, I had made adjustments to these slides.
Uh-oh.
That's not supposed to be in there.
What about that one?
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Those were all deleted. And there should be, and yeah, this coach slide should be updated. So Sherry has retired from us July 1st, so was her retirement date. So congratulations. And I thank Sherry so much for the help that she has provided over the last year and a half for us here at the State Department. So for right now, Sam is rowing that, is hauling that row, herself right now. So we're all kind of tag teaming there. I will say, if anybody's interested, we do have an application out there on the Alabama Achieves website for a new special programs coach. So we are looking to bring somebody into our fun and exciting group of Power School coaches to support our districts. So just know that we have Caitlin, Quandria, Kendall, and Samantha right now. And we do have the link for you to request virtual or on-site help. Especially if you need any trainings. I will say next week we will all be down at Mega. So if any of y'all are going to Mega, please make sure to attend some of our sessions. We've got some great SIS, MTSS, and special programs sessions for our special education personnel out there. And that should be it for me.
Congratulations to Sherry for
yes.
I started to say graduating, for retiring. Good for her. Good for her. I'm glad that she got to, and I'm excited to hear you've got an opening. If I lived in Alabama, I might take you up on that, Stacy.
I tell you, we're it's a crazy time, but a fun time.
I think I'd love the weather. Just the weather would make me happy. There you go. All right, we do have some module updates from our module leaders, and we're going to start off with our gifted update. Is Ashley on the call? Stacy, was that Ashley going to be here today?
No, I don't see Ashley on the call.
Okay, well, I'll just go on and do these for her then. So for the gifted updates, the two forms required in special programs by all LEAs are the referral form and the gifted eligibility screening determination form. So these two forms generate the gifted referral tracking log. Logs are examined yearly by the ALSD gifted specialist to ensure children are being referred for gifted programs. So those two forms, a definite requirement, and the fact that they do generate that gifted referral tracking log is also a great resource and tool for you guys. The enrichment model systems must mark the participation of enrichment students in the SIS, and directions for submitting reports are posted in the Gifted Schoology groups and in the Friends of the Gifted or the FOG newsletter. And so it looks like the Gifted snapshot is due in Power School Special Programs on April the 17th. Anyone on the ALSD team need to add anything to that?
Robin, Ashley said she was locked out. That's why she couldn't get on the presentation. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, what is going on?
Technology.
Us today. Well, poor thing. I hope that I did it justice for her.
Okay.
English learner updates. Maria, I believe, is on the call today.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I have just a couple of things to share with you. We updated the registration for training for Elevation. As a reminder, Elevation is still the EL platform. However, just remember that you have to complete the form in Power School Special Programs for all that information that all of the students' information transfer overnight through from Power School to elevation. So you need to make sure that the forms are filled in through PowerSchool special programs. Once in elevation, everything is merged there. Then I know there is a lot of people that, like she was saying earlier, that are new to the EL world. And I really, really suggest you grab this QR code or this bit.ly link to access these training opportunities for elevation. We have anywhere from elevation platform training, we have the strategies training for new and for experienced people. We have it all. So please grab this link, and it's all free to use, so you can take advantage of these. Can you move to the next slide, please, Robin? Okay, the other thing I just wanted to, we have had a lot of people reaching out to federal programs or myself about the definitions for long-term English learners. We, as you know, we have two definitions. The first one is only for the purpose of federal reporting, and that definition for long-term is 5 years in the EL program. So the feds only look at, when they're looking at English learners, when we report to them, the only part we report is when the English learners have been in the program for 5 years. And as far as the State Department, like the state reporting, we, because of the English learner framework, we, as a state, decided that a long-term EL is that individual that has been in the program for 7 years or more. So that is the only difference. But remember, the only report we provide to the feds is the 5-year. Okay, so that's Becky from Federal Programs is going to share these during MEGA, and she will continue to share it with all the districts as far as when they reach out to us and asking about this long-term definition. But I just wanted to clarify, because you are the ones inputting this information in PowerSchool, and so that is the report that she collects. So and that's all I have for you today, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Maria. Let's move on to our special education update.
Hello, everyone. Couple of slides for special education. As a reminder, we have a data collection for the post-school outcome survey. It is going to end August 30th. Make sure your surveys are completed and finalized in special programs. Also, data collection for the APR indicator report will begin September 2nd, and it's going to end on September the 16th. So please begin reviewing your state reports and making corrections as needed. You can refer to the March 17th email for upcoming special education data collections. Also, our PowerSchool Special Programs coach will be hosting several training sessions related to special education in July. So please refer to the flyer and be sure to register for those sessions, especially if you're a new coordinator. This is great information. Samantha does a great job. Next slide, please. We have a few special education updates for PowerSchool, but the one that we want to highlight today is the special education profile and state reporting profile will be locked for manual entry. That means the majority of the data in these profiles is form driven. That means that the information feeds from a form and is saved. Once you save and finalize the form, then the data populates into those profiles. The data will automatically flow to those profiles when they are saved and finalized. So be sure to share with your PowerSchool users, your special programs users, excuse me, in your LEA that these profiles will be locked for manual entry starting July 21st, 2025. And that's going to be it for special education at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Card. All right, Shantae, some product updates, please.
Good afternoon, Alabama. So for product updates, on this slide, I'll just kind of go through our release schedule. Looking at the previous releases, we added 2 releases in June, and our focus on those 2 releases, they were small releases. We focused on doing some improvements to our status calculations. These status calculations are conditions that are set up in the back end of the system, and depending on a student's scenario, it populates either a referred active or an inactive status type. And so we were having issues where we had students who met various conditions kind of being hung up on an incorrect status for that particular student's situation at that current time. So in June, we did release 2 updates to improve those status calculations. So hopefully you guys have seen some improvements in your reporting as you're collecting that data for state reporting last month. The next release, or I'll say in progress, we have our July release that we are targeting a July 21st deployment date. A summary of that release, we are adding some more fields to the student transfer review document. So those fields would be the exceptionality field, as well as the alternate assessment field. As other fields in the document, once the document is set to final, those fields or the data values will flow to the special education profile. Another area that we will release in this release that's in progress, we improved some of the key areas within EI to preschool tracking. So kind of did some conditions behind the scene, added some validations so that we can get more accurate data collection as EI to preschool tracking data reporting is approaching us at the beginning of your school year. We also made updates to when personnel and supplemental data will be collected. So we got that new information from your state representative. So you'll see an update come July 21st for that. And then for the notice and consent for initial evaluation, we added a non-lookup option to the signature of education agency official field. So that's just a summary of what is coming in this July release that is targeted for July 21st. Just to give you a heads up, because it's a nice bit of a gap, our next release is scheduled for November 21st, 2025. Next slide, please. Okay, so for product updates for release communication, in our PowerSchool community environment, a notification is sent to you guys via PowerSchool community. This notification comes with details on the release deployment, including release notes. So you kind of get a heads up on what will be coming to the system. This notification is sent on the Thursday before if the release is scheduled for a Monday, and the Tuesday before if the release is scheduled for a Friday. So this particular release, I believe we're scheduled for a Monday. So you'll get a notification the Thursday prior to, and that's via PowerSchool community. So the day of the deployment in special programs, you'll receive an alert. And it's posted in special programs, and I kind of gave an image of what it looks like. So you'll get that alert at the start of the day. So if you're signing in first thing on July 21st, you'll see that alert announcement posted on your home screen or home page of special programs. New release notes are also published in special programs, but you won't see those until around 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. To review those new or previous release notes, you can go to the question mark in the upper right-hand corner. After you're logged into the system, you select State Help, and then the current release notes will display on the screen. You can select release notes on the left side of the page once you're on that State Help screen to see all other previous release notes. And that's what we have for product updates.
Thank you, Shante.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Dana's going to provide us with some support updates.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, so for our special ed, we are still having duplicate students, of course, that are created over in SIS, and we're still having to merge those and make sure that we get all the data corrected on both sides in special programs, general ed students, as well as your special ed students, so that in the future we don't run into any new issues whenever we have to possibly import a student that had never been imported into general ed when the student was fixed on the SIS side. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're getting those duplicate student messages that I typically send out when SIS gives me the information, letting me know that they corrected a duplicate student on the SIS side. I'm still getting cases where there are student contacts not being sent over to special programs. The contacts in special programs need to be fixed, of course, in SIS in order for them to be sent to special programs. So I got a quick screenshot there for those of you who have access to SIS and could go in and take a look at the contact to be sure that they're marked as active. When you open up a student's contacts in special programs and you see no contacts whatsoever, typically it's because they were never marked as active on the SIS side. If you see a contact, but they're not showing up in the drop down, then that means that they were never marked to receive mailings in SIS. Remember, it's an overnight import to get the data from SIS back over to special programs. And depending on what time of the day that your imports occur, it could take up to 2 days, typically not. But that is a possibility. So just reminding everyone that that is something that you need to keep an eye on if you're not seeing students' contacts populate. Next slide, please. Again, staff issues. We are still having staff issues with the duplicates where they are changing the IDs to make them match sometimes the Alabama State Department ID. And therefore, when they do that and they don't notify the person that is working in special programs that they've done this, then they're going to get a duplicate profile and that staff member is no longer going to be able to log into special programs. So just trying to check and see when you do have someone who's having an issue. If you search their profile and find a duplicate, then you're going to check with your SIS person to be sure what the proper ID is in SIS, and then you can go ahead and merge those profiles together so you don't lose any data. Making sure you're checking your import logs still. We're seeing still more failures here and there, but it is possible that you can go in there and clean up some of those row issues that you're having. If you have questions about what the row issue means and you're not sure how to fix it, absolutely reach out. You can give us a phone call or you can put in a ticket and we'll be glad to walk you through that process so that you know how to correct those import errors. Import errors do cause your imports not to complete at times. So failures mean that you are missing some data. So please make sure you keep an eye on those at least once a week. Sorry, you do not have to make transfer documents live when you are receiving them from the district that sent them to you. Typically, the only time you need to make a document live is when you're needing to make an amendment to that document or you're entering progress for the IEP. Even with that, you shouldn't have to make it a live document. You should be able to just, you shouldn't have to unfinalize that document. You should just be able to add the active progress. We need to make sure we're changing our allowable years for the current year so that everyone who is creating IEPs that maybe hasn't been completed yet are in the 25-26 year. And then we also need to make sure we update our start and end dates of school under the globals. We will be having our automatic rollover that will happen for most people on 7/19, unless somebody's gone in there and changed your date for the automatic rollover. That will be occurring soon. And then, of course, if you decided to do it on your own, then it should be set for make sure you change your date for next year. I think that's all I had.
Yeah, thank you, Dana.
All right, thank you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about some best practices. I do want to, I forgot to do this at the beginning of the call, but I do want to make sure that I give you guys the slide deck to this. I know you will receive it, but I did want to send it to everyone. So let me just go on and plop that into the chat. Oh, is that a link? I bet it didn't come up as a link. I might have to get my friend Kat, who's on the call, to help me get that situated. Kat, if you don't mind, to try to figure out why that link didn't link out. Again, technology today. I just don't know what we're going to do. All right, so there are some July call-outs. Dana, Shaltae, and I met and just kind of discussed, what's going on in Alabama. What are some good things that I could highlight in the best practices section? For end of the year rollover, which Dana said is coming up soon, a consideration might be, do you need documents finalized before the end of the year rollover? I know I taught some districts, they require that their documents are finalized before the end of the year rollover. So the best practice is just make sure you're setting those expectations with your staff for that document management as you are preparing for the end of year rollover. Another good item that probably needs to be cleaned up would be any special programs staff user, employee, end user, anyone who is no longer working at the district, especially if they are in the administrative group. Once you have identified those staff who no longer work in your district, you will need to remove their special programs access and deactivate their staff profile. So just some little tips and tricks as you are going into this end of year rollover in the next couple of weeks. Dana mentioned changing your allowable years for new document settings in special programs to 25, 26. So I wanted to provide a couple of screenshots as a resource if you need to go back to look at this, if you're not sure of where to find this. So you can see I am under Administration Configuration, and I'm on the School Year Settings tab. On the School Year Settings tab, at the very bottom, you have the allowable years for new documents. So by clicking on the blue pencil, the Edit pencil, this is what your setup should look like. The earliest year should be 24, 25, the latest year 25, 26, and the default year should be set at 25, 26. Dana wanted me to emphasize that this task can be completed prior to end of year rollover, but it is a requirement after end of year rollover. So either before, but you definitely have to do this after the end of the year rollover. This update must take place to eliminate any errors on your child count snapshot report. So just a little bit of a screenshot, some viewing there so you know exactly where you need to go to change the allowable years and what your setup should look like. After rollover. So after you guys have rolled over, one of the next steps is going to be to update the start and end dates of the school under your globals. So you're going to go into your profile and select your global settings, your global profiles. Now, Alabama start dates may vary between districts. So after the rollover, you've got to go in and update that first day and last day of school under the calendar options setting in the globals. And then just a reminder, you don't need to worry about federal count date because that is updated through a script. So one of the first things after rollover is to go in and change that first day and last day of school date so that you don't run into any errors, because dates, we are highly driven by our dates for special education. So Dana also mentioned talking about looking at your import logs for errors. You may have it set up where just one person in your district gets the email, the daily email for import logs. It may be that you have a team of people. It would be a great best practice to make sure those import logs are being checked at least daily to keep up with any potential issues or errors that you might have. The different errors you might get would be success with row issues. So if you get that, that could be a potentially there is a translation issue. Your keyword values may not be set. They could be null, or there could be formatting issues. Maybe you left the hyphen out of a phone number, or you didn't put enough digits on the phone number. Those are going to be your success with row issues. So just going back into, as Dana said, CIS or special programs and fixing these so that they will get picked up in the next round of, what am I trying to say? For that, when they get picked up during integration. Thank you. I lost my train of thought there. Row rejections, these are going to probably be your matches or lack of matches. There needs to be an integration IDT that matches. There has to be the CIS ID and the special programs ID need to match, as well as a first name and last name match. So if you're getting row rejections, that might be the first three places I would check to make sure to see, what's not matching. What do I need to do? Do I need to merge these? Are they duplicate profiles? Does something need to be merged? But row rejections are going to usually end up being something around ID issues or first and last names not matching. Failures, while we never want to see failures, it could be that the server is down, potential server access. Once the server's back up, you'll be up and running. If you do have a failure that does not fix itself within a timely manner, I would definitely put in a support ticket for that so that our support team can look at those. Now, when you're reviewing those import logs, you're going to go under the, you're going to be under administration configuration, and this time you're going to be selecting integration. You have a ton of integrations there. You just select the import that you want to focus on, click on that magnifier, and then under the More dropdown, you're going to see the ability to view your import logs. So by selecting that, that's going to drop you right down into the logs themselves so that you can review them. And then you can also select the Success with Row Issues blue hyperlink to review those specific row issues. And then when you're looking at those import logs, I just gave a couple of different screenshot or a couple of different examples of what you might see. Row rejected because the ID matches, but the name does not. That could be just a manual entry error, or it could be just a transposing the numbers or the letters. You might also get a rejected row because ID matches, but the other match value does not. So by clicking into that hyperlink, that blue hyperlink, you're going to get more information for each of these issues. You might also get, again, not set is not a keyword. So by taking the time to review those import logs, and like Dana said, if you're getting an error that you don't understand, put in a support ticket to get assistance for that. But also keep in mind that a lot of times these errors could be fixed in CIS or special programs, and they would usually disappear after the next import occurs. So just some information to kind of keep in mind as you're reviewing those import logs. So our next steps, and I know that we have some questions in the Q&A, but so let me just go over these real quick, and then I'm going to open it all to Q&A. I just want to remind you that we do have the National Special Programs PowerUp in August. We're going to be doing documents in Easy Edit, and in September, we're going to be doing security and integrations, or security integrations is probably what I should have said. I do want to remind you the National PowerUp is based on the overall platform, the way that the platform is set up out of the box to work. So sometimes some of the things that are covered on the National Special Programs PowerUp may not align with my state customers, such as my Alabama customers or my Indiana or my Arkansas customers, because you have a different set of processes and directives that you need to follow, and it was set up that way for you. So I just want to keep that in mind, because I know we have a lot of Alabama customers that come to our PowerUp. So making sure that you understand that some of these features are not going to work in that way for our statewide customers. I am presenting from the platform with a very high over level view. But as most of you know, you can always ask questions in the Q&A about your specific instance, and we will be glad to get back to you with any answers. The one important date that I did leave off of here is that the next Alabama PowerUp is going to be held in November. So we are set up for the Q4 Alabama PowerUp. So I just always include this in here just so you can see what's coming up for the national PowerUp events. Please note that the one in December is basically for, I have had a high request to review how the service capture module works. This may not be specific to Alabama customers, so that's why I highlighted it in green, because this is really just going to be an informational session for those customers who would like to know more about how service capture works. All right, so as we go into our Q&A, it looks like we did get our questions answered. That was in the Q&A, but I want to open it up now to anyone else who may have a question. Now that we have gone over the deck, is there any additional questions for Stacy and team or anything for the Power School side of the house? Please just raise your hand and I'll be glad to let you come off of mute. Oh, there's a hand. Let me find it. I think there's a hand. Hold on.
Yes, it's Dorinda White.
Thank you. I lost my screen. Oh, goodness. White, all right. Well, she's hiding from me. There she is. I'm sorry, Dorinda. Now you may speak. I'm so sorry. You can come out. You should be able to come off of mute, Dorinda.
There it is now. Okay, now I see it. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I'm sorry. I just got a couple of real quick questions, and I apologize because I did pop on just a couple of minutes late. I had some interruptions. The first thing is just to confirm, Dana, regarding the marking periods, do we do all of that after the rollover also?
You can go ahead and do your marking periods as well. These are things that we recommend you do either before or after, but it definitely needs to be done before school starts.
Okay.
Just to make sure everything kind of lines up the way it should.
Okay. I didn't know if we could do it before, if that would hurt.
Yes,
so I'll go ahead and get that done. Okay. And then the second thing is, did you guys talk about transfer envelope procedures? Did you talk about that a little bit in the beginning? If not, here's my question. Yes, did you?
No, we did not.
Okay. My question is procedure-wise, we get a student that, let's say we're getting a student from Huntsville City Schools. So it pops up that we know they're coming, so they've withdrawn them and they've told them they're coming to us. So somehow they pop up in our special programs, but we have not yet delivered them into our SIS. And I know there was a protocol on that with the transfer envelope. How should that go down? Does my question make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Dana kind of explained that to us.
Yes, ma'am. So typically what we recommend is you don't import the envelope until they are enrolled in your SIS. Because if they're not enrolled in your SIS, then you're not going to necessarily get all of the information from the previous district because you don't have them enrolled from the previous district. We would prefer that you wait and get them fully enrolled, because they could change their mind and not actually show up day one of school. And then you would have imported information that you weren't supposed to be privy to.
Okay, so we use PowerSchool enrollment. So we go in there, parents upload their information, we get them approved, and then we push them into our SIS. But the enrollment date is actually 8/4 for us right now. So they're pre-registered. Is that what you're considering enrolled, or do you mean butt in the seat?
That might be more of a state question.
Enrolled and active in the SIST or into. So once you get them
Okay.
delivered over in there and they're in that pre-registered
Okay.
or active status, that's it. The key thing is you've got to make sure that the kids are enrolled in SIS
Right.
before you do those envelopes over in special programs, or else it does not bring in that integration IDT and breaks so many things. It
That's
stops
what I
basically all
thought.
kind of exports. And so that is something we've seen the biggest contributor to integration
Yes.
IDT errors. It
Okay.
causes issues on your child count. And I mean, I could go on and on about what all
Excellent.
that does. So,
And I thought that's what it was. I was hoping that's what you were going to say. So basically, I'm just going to kind of put it back in my terms, layman's terms. Okay, so we enroll, the parents do their part, we approve it, we deliver them into SIS. Once I have them in the SIS out of provisional, or I go ahead and get them in there, and they might even still be in provisional because the other school hasn't released them. But we could still, at that point, request the transfer envelope.
yes, as long as they're
Okay.
in the SIS, as long as you've gotten them over in there, you're good to start that.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. And we shouldn't send them unless,
Correct.
well, yeah. So vice versa, I guess. Yeah. Until we know if they're still in our SIS, we shouldn't be sending them until they've pulled them. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. We've gotten that on there. Okay. Is that right? I mean, they wouldn't pull, I mean, they'd still be in our SIS, but we would see that they were requesting the records. Okay.
Yes, and I'll say we've got a video on that. Sherry did a presentation sometime last year. So as we are pulling all those off WebEx and putting them on YouTube, you'll have a reference video to point
Excellent, because I thought I remembered all that. And my girl that works with me on the special ed side, I said, I remember seeing Sherry do something. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Stacy. We appreciate that. Okay, that was my 2 questions. I just want to make sure we were doing those correctly.
Thank you, Dorinda. I'm glad you learned something today. Lisa, I have allowed you to come off of mute, so whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you all so much. I just have just a quick question in regards to how our IEP and gifted tabs correlate as far as their being active. There's just been a little bit of confusion with what should be changed and shouldn't. So example, if you have a student who has exited off of they're not on an IEP anymore, but they're gifted and they're a participant, how should that look as far as the active status? Because I was wondering if it affected our state reports.
So when you have a student who has exited out of the special ed portion but is still on the gifted profile, an active gifted student, they should be exited on the special program side, just as if they were leaving completely. There is going to be a process that we walk you through the first time, just so you make sure you get it right. Because once you've fixed everything, they have to have a primary exceptionality at the top of the screen whenever you first look at their profile. And then you're going to have to make sure that you are giving you the exiting date and the exiting reason. And once that's saved and completed, you'll be able to go to your gifted tab and change the exceptionality on the gifted tab to gifted, and then that will make them active again. So they'll be inactive reason, no longer eligible on special programs tab, but they'll be active on the special programs tab because those 2 tabs are tied together, but they're no longer active for special ed. They're just active gifted. It will change their exceptionality to gifted on the special ed profile.
Okay, so the exceptionality on the special ed profile should say gifted.
As long as they're exited at the bottom and it shows the proper information. Yes, ma'am.
And so is it exited on the graduation exit or just the IEP?
No. It's at the very bottom where it's set underneath the graduation date.
Okay, I noticed whenever that was set, it was not allowing the gifted side to be active. And I don't know, and maybe I'm just doing something wrong.
I would be more than happy to work with you if you would like to, reach out to me and we can do it off screen. That would be perfect.
That'd be
Because it could
awesome.
be just
Thank
one
you.
sum. Okay.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
So Felicia, I would like to ask, were you seeing that issue prior to June? Because as we just discussed in the PowerUp, we did improve those status calculations. So the status calculations that we spoke of are what kind of drives those status fields on gifted and special education. So have you seen it recent after the June releases?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was speaking with our gifted specialist yesterday, and we were actually looking at it together, and both of us were kind of trying to figure out what needed to be done. And so I know I was trying some different things, and it would let us do what we felt like needed to be done if if the exited was removed. But knowing that that needs to be in there, I guess that was the issue that we were trying to figure out how it needed to be. And I guess there were just two conflicting sides. Her being told how she needs to do it, and then me noticing the inactivity, if it needs to be active and where it needs to be active under the tab, because I just didn't want it to. I felt like it might affect the reports at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Dana will collect those details and we will
Ye-
revisit if we need to.
All right, Miss
Awesome.
Felicia,
Thank
what
you.
district are you with?
We're at Hartsville City Schools.
Hartsville. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, I saw you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to share anything, or was that a?
Well, I was just listening into that overall status. So Alfreda and I have some directions in our gifted Schoology group for those things. And I know Shantae and I have touched on that, that overall gifted status remains active, you know, for a gifted child all the way through school, but that participation status may change. And I know that there have been some issues, but I was just going to say they could reach out to me or to Alfreda and we can walk them through that as well.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else that has a question, a comment, something nice you'd like to share, or maybe even sharing some ideas for as you're going into end of year rollover and back to school season? Any questions, thoughts, ideas? This is your time. You've got your team, your ALSDE team on the call, so we will be glad to help you with anything that may pop up.
So I see a question from Miss Sherry Martin, and her question is this a similar issue for exited student information not syncing to PowerSchool special programs? So that question is, it depends upon how the student is exited in SIS as to whether he shows up in special programs. If it is an in-system transfer, that means that the student is expected to go from school A to school B. We're not going to see exiting information in special programs because they're supposedly being enrolled in another one of your schools. That could be the issue. If it's a student who is preschool and they are not eligible or old enough for kindergarten, and they gave them a WD-8 withdrawal because they're not old enough, they're not going to show that in special programs because they're assuming the student will probably show up when they are old enough to be in school. So those are typically the two that we see that they don't show up the exiting information coming from SIS into special programs. If they're marked as an in-state transfer, out-of-state transfer, then those should show up all the time. Hope that answered your question.
All right. Anyone else?
Yes, I guess.
Oh, another one. Every time I
I
look from
will.
one screen to the other, I get a new question.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Sherry, I will be glad to take a look at yours. I do remember we have it open and it has been turned over to development. I'll see if I can get you an update on that.
Great. Thank you, Dana.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If we don't have any other comments, questions, or call outs, I just want to wish you guys a wonderful rest of your July. I hope it goes by a little bit slower for you so you do have some time to catch your breath before August rolls around. I also want to let you know, anyone on the call that has questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to me as well. Dana is going to be your support person, but if you just have questions about certain features or anything like that, you are more than welcome to reach out to me as well. I am the assigned EIC for the whole state of Alabama. So if I could be of any assistance or any type of resource or consultative service, just let me know. My services are free, and we always like free as educators, don't we? So I want to thank the ALSDE team for joining and for your input today on the slide deck. I want to thank our attendees for joining today. Anything that you would like to see covered in an upcoming PowerUp, please indicate so on the survey, or you can email me myself, and we can work on getting what you want to see in this PowerUp, because it is your state PowerUp, and I want to make sure you're getting all of the critical information that you need. Thanks for joining, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.